In today's hearing, Congressman Jason Crow delivers one of the most important reality checks you'll see, reminding America that our military's true strength comes not from division or politics, but from unity, discipline, and moral leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Chairman Kane, Secretary Hegseth, and Mrs. McDonald. You're doing a great job today, Mrs. McDonald. Secretary Hegseth, we have a lot of things in common. In fact, our careers started the same way. We were both infantry officers. We were both platoon leaders. We both deployed our platoons to combat in a counterinsurgency environment. There are very few better leadership training grounds than that experience, and it's that experience that I want to transport us back into time, back to Lieutenant Hegseth and Lieutenant Crow. There are a lot of things that make a leader and that make a unit effective. Would you say that unit cohesion is important?
Unit cohesion, amongst many, is very important, yes,
It's
sir.
an important element. And part of that is making sure that all members of your unit felt included in that team, correct?
Far more important that every member of that unit felt capable to do the mission and united in that mission.
But that they were included and felt part of the team as well.
I wouldn't use the word inclusion, sir, but yes, they were cohering as a team, yes.
And that you reduce tension and infighting and points of tension between your platoon members so that you can focus on the mission. That was a part of the regular job.
Absolutely. That's why I've said that our diversity is our strength is the single dumbest phrase in military history.
And words
because
are important.
Our unity is our strength. And
Words-
so unity amongst members, despite differences of backgrounds, race, whatever that is.
And I agree with you on that.
Together on a mission.
And words, part of that is words are important and setting the tone is important, correct? When you're a leader.
All aspects of leadership, mostly leading by example.
Did you ever
and
tell
also
them your
giving
political
clear
affiliation?
guidance.
Did you ever tell your platoon members your political affiliation?
We certainly discussed lots of topics, and I'm sure my political affiliation.
Did you ever ask them theirs?
No, their political affiliation was never a concern to me.
Because it's important that everybody feel included and that people weren't excluded, correct? That would be
My
antithetical
platoon,
to...
I'm sure my platoon contained Republicans, Democrats, and Independents, and I had no idea what their affiliation was.
Okay, that was actually my next question, so I appreciate you answering that. You led your unit in a counterinsurgency environment and you interacted with civilians, correct?
Interacted with members of the civilian population in Iraq, sure.
And you were, in fact, a COIN instructor, a counterinsurgency instructor, correct?
In Afghanistan in 2011 and 2012, I was the senior counterinsurgency instructor.
And you signed off on a manual. There's actually a counterinsurgency manual that you signed off on and helped create. And your name's on that manual, correct?
We were a part of creating a lot of content at the COIN Academy, yes.
Do you remember this portion of the manual? It says, if you've killed two innocents, you've set yourself back more than you've moved forward. Do you still agree with that?
I would have to take a look at the manual, but obviously no one in warfare is seeking to kill innocents.
Okay. Because it's important to show why we're different from the enemy. Because we're not the enemy, right? We're different from our adversary. Would you agree with that? We have different morals and different values.
We are not the enemy, sir.
We have different morals and we have different values than the enemy.
We have a code, a uniform code of military justice.
The answer to
creeds
that is
inside our
yes.
formations that
You're not trying to compare us to Al-Qaeda and ISIS, are you? We're different.
I know the code of the United States military and army that I signed
You
up
can't
for.
tell me whether we're
Raise my
different?
right hand.
You're not willing to say we're
Of course
different?
we're different.
Okay,
I
thank
mean,
you.
It's absurd.
That's why I'm trying to reconcile the fact that we learned many of the same lessons as platoon leaders about unit cohesion, making sure that people were included, that we didn't ask people's political affiliation, that we interacted respectfully with civilian populations, that what a leader says matters, that the tone you set matters, that we are not the enemy, that we are different from them, we lead differently, we have different morals. How can I reconcile that experience and those lessons learned from Lieutenant Hegseth to now Secretary Hegseth, where you say things like what you just saw here, making us equivalent on the same standards as our adversaries, doing the same things that ISIS and Al-Qaeda would do? How can you possibly reconcile that? I can't. And just the other day down at Fort Bragg in our beloved 82nd Airborne Division, sitting there while we politicize the military and pull our paratroopers into politics, booing elected officials, booing politicians with whom you disagree. It's antithetical to our values, and you, sir, have changed.
What you just witnessed from Congressman Jason Crow is more than an exchange about military philosophy. It's a reality check about what actually makes the United States military the most effective fighting force in the world. Crow isn't asking trick questions or relitigating old deployments. He's reminding America of something deeply important at a moment when that truth is being threatened. Our strength comes from who we are, not who we fight. Crow and Hegseth share a similar beginning, both infantry officers, both platoon leaders, both men who had to lead young Americans in some of the most dangerous environments on Earth. And Crow leans into that shared past deliberately. He wants to put aside politics and return to the fundamentals they both lived through: unit cohesion, trust, discipline, restraint, and moral clarity. Because in the military, none of those are optional. They are the difference between life and death. And that's the point Crow is trying to drive home. He walks Hegseth through the basics that every officer learns from day one. A unit works when everyone feels they belong in it. It works when you reduce internal friction. It works when you don't divide your platoon by politics, ideology, or identity. That's not woke ideology. That's not culture war fluff. That's Leadership 101. But Crow also pulls the lens back. He reminds the room and the country that the U.S. military is governed by higher principles. It's not just about winning fights. It's about how we win them. It's about why we can walk into foreign villages and ask for trust, why young Americans are willing to follow their commanders into harm's way, why our allies believe in us, because we operate by a moral code that extremists and authoritarian regimes reject outright. When Crow asks, "Are we different from the enemy?" he's pointing out a fundamental line that should never blur. Different morals, different values, different rules of engagement, different accountability. The American military has always held itself to a higher standard. That's why the world respects it. But Hegseth's hesitations, his attempts to reframe, to downplay, to sidestep, expose something worrying. Crow presses because the moment demands clarity. Are we still a country that believes in the values we claim to fight for? Or are we drifting into a politics first, facts last, grievance-driven mindset that undermines the very institutions we rely on? Crow's final point is the most important. The military shouldn't be weaponized for political theater. When service members at Fort Bragg are pulled into staged political booing, when officials encourage division inside the force rather than unity, it undermines everything Crow and Hegseth were trained to uphold. And Crow says it plainly: this isn't who we are supposed to be. This moment is a warning and a reminder. The U.S. military strength is built on cohesion, discipline, moral clarity, and a commitment to principles that separate us from authoritarian movements and extremist groups. When political leaders erode those foundations, even unintentionally, they compromise national security. Crow isn't just challenging Hegseth, he's challenging the entire country to remember what actually keeps us safe and what truly makes America different. If you're following these hearings because you care about democracy, institutions, and the future of American leadership, make sure you stay tuned, because moments like this aren't just about questioning one official, they're about protecting the values that define us. And that's exactly why this exchange matters.